Now with the build portion of the video out of the way, it's now time to take the tank on a test drive. Now under the hood, like I said before, the model is utilizing all Taigen electronics. Now the electronics are the T5 Taigen digital remote control system. Now, like I mentioned before, one of the reasons why this vehicle was a scratch and dent special had to do with the motherboard. The sound file on the stock motherboard was corrupted and the unit needed to be replaced. This was done. However, during the tank's construction towards the very tail end, the radio also suffered a failure and needed to be replaced. On the stock radio, this channel stick over here on the internal portion became cracked, and because of which the unit was going to stick in a certain direction, leaving for a less than ideal situation. Fortunately, these radios are also very easy to come by and are also very affordable. This unit here I acquired just like with the motherboard from TaigenTanks.com. Because of the new radio, you do have to sync it to the tank's motherboard. Luckily, this procedure, just like I mentioned before, is very easily done and is one that is done in about a minute. Very shortly, you're up and running, and you don't have to worry about this setup again. In a nutshell, you have full driving controls with speed control. You can have certain throttle to the model. However, having said that, the throttle on these ready-to-run models, some would consider to be a little bit on the lower end. If that's the case, you can replace the electronics with hobby-grade units, and there are lots of different options on the market from Clarkboard all the way up to Elmod. When it comes to which one is best for you, there are certain videos on YouTube. I recommend checking those out in order to really bring your tank performance-wise to the next level. For my model here, however, leaving it with the stock electronics is perfectly fine. And here's the vehicle now powered on, which you can clearly tell by the sound system. Now, the vehicle sound system is patched in so that when you hit the throttle, there is an acceleration sound that is exhibited. However, if you try going at very low speeds, the tank will move without the sound system activated. The sound system tends to work when you are at the fullest throttle on the radio. For the turret does turn. Now, like I may have mentioned before, the stock 180-degree throw was replaced with a full 360-degree turret rotation gear. However, like I also may have mentioned, on this build here, I cannot turn the full 360 because of the 3D printed antenna. However, if you notice, I can still rotate the turret in a more full manner compared to the stock unit. Of course, like with all these ready-to-run models, the gun does go up and down, but like on all Taigens, the gun is on a series track, and by only moving down on the one radio stick, this will both raise and elevate the gun because the gun again is on a track circuit. There is also bound machine gun noises and flash. And on the rear portion here, there is smoke. However, with my really windy situation, it may be difficult to get on camera. The smoke throttle is actually proportional, and the more throttle you give the vehicle, the more smoke is exhibited by the smoke generator. Like I mentioned before, I added the detailing of a functional rear convoy light. This is patched in with the tank's basic headlight electronics, and here you can see the unit in action. Although it is quite difficult to see in the daytime lighting that I have here. Now, enough talking, let's go ahead and take this model for a test run. Now, as you can tell from the test run, the model performed very well both on and off-road, and I was actually driving it on terrain that is not really designed or meant for something in 1/16 scale, but the tank still was able to persevere regardless. With the metal tracks, the model does have a little bit more weight to contend with such obstacles, either these giant pine cones or either with some of the inclines that I was dealing with before. In combination with the steel gearbox, this also gives the tank a lot more of a smoother running as opposed to using the stock either zinc alloy or the plastic gearboxes. Now, in case anyone out there who's watching this video and is interested in getting into one of these 1/16 scale radio controlled models, the performance that you've seen here is basically what you're going to expect. However, keep in mind that this model does have the upgraded track and the gearbox that I mentioned before, which are two very easy modifications to make to your model that really do make it perform a lot better compared to its stock either zinc or plastic counterpart. It is also why these modifications are highly recommended, since they don't add too much more to the cost of the overall build. In the end, I couldn't be any more happier on how this build turned out. Being a scratch and dent special, taking a model which fate would be basically uncertain and polishing it up into a very happy ending in a ugly duckling type scenario is definitely something that always makes me feel good at the end of the day. The build went by in a very smooth manner. There weren't any surprises or any other hiccups that really emerged throughout the building phase, and all of the aspects of the build basically just fell into place, leading to the end result that we have here. Now, a common question that I get on my YouTube channel, as well as also from my YouTube viewers that send me emails, are what are my opinions on the Taigen RC models, as well as what are some suggestions for radio-controlled Tiger I models in 1/16 scale. Starting with the latter, when it comes to 1/16 scale Tiger Is, you really have four options available. You have the full option RC kit from Tamiya, you have the Taigen, you have the all-metal kit from Matto, and then there's the Henlong. In my opinion, the best rendition of the 1/16 scale Tiger I is the Tamiya full option kit. That kit has the highest fidelity in molding and detailing, as well as the machinery aspect of the model is more on the higher end. The Henlong, on the other hand, is on the opposite end of the spectrum and is a very, very basic, almost toyish type of a starter vehicle, and really is something that is best to be left as a beater or something that you are going to leave primarily stock and just have fun with. The Taigen models, in my opinion, are basically in the middle. The Taigen gives you much better improved detail accuracy and performance from the Henlong, but it's a slight step down from the Tamiya. One of the problems with the Tamiya is, first, it is a totally unassembled plastic model kit, which means you the customer, have to have a basis in not only plastic model building, but also with radio-controlled models where you have to buy the radio and you have to configure everything and get it up and running. The Taigen models are ready to run out of the box, so that aspect is not there. However, some people might argue that the stock electronics found on these Taigen models are on the lower end and would want to level up to something a little bit more hobby grade with swapping out the electronic package, which is doable on the Taigen vehicles. Now, the Taigens do cost more than the Henlongs, but are significantly more cost effective than the Tamiya. Now, you do have better detailing than the Henlong. Not as good of detailing on the Tamiya, but the vehicle's detailing out of box are acceptable in my opinion, and also gives you a great base to work on, like I did over here, where you take the starter model and you kick it up to the next level with the added detailing. Now, while on the price aspect, this is another area which can be considered a disadvantage for the Tamiya. The Tamiya models, even though engineering-wise and detail-wise are very good, on the price aspect they are very, very expensive. A Tamiya model starts at around $900 and can fetch as high as $1,500 on eBay or anywhere found online. The Taigen models are right there in the middle and can be had from anywhere between $200 to $400 US, depending on the version that you're looking for. Now, Option-wise, the Taigen also gives you more variety of vehicles to choose from compared to the Tamiya. With the Tamiya, you kind of pigeonhole to one of two options. You have the early production Tiger, which was their first release, and I believe a few years later they re-released the model as a Tiger 131 option pack, which has a few different accessories added to their original kit. On the other hand, Taigen gives you options to have the Tiger as an early production unit, a mid-production unit, and also a late production unit like this model that we have here. Between these three variants, this allows you to really model the Tiger I in just about any of the configurations that were found during the war. In a combination to that, you also have a broad spectrum of detail hop-up components from Taigen, which can be used to not only hop up one of these vehicles like I have here, but they can also be used to hop up the other ones that I mentioned, including the Tamiya. Now, another model that I mentioned earlier was the Matto all-metal vehicle. The Matto vehicle is slightly more expensive than the Taigen variants that we have here because it's all made in die-cast metal. However, the Matto vehicle is really nothing more than a slightly tweaked version from the Hemlong. The Matto vehicle does feature several of the inaccuracies that are carried over from the Hemlong that need to be addressed by the builder. Many of these mistakes and tweaks are not necessary on the Taigen, which is why I recommend them over the other vehicles. If you're going to start with a model as a starting point, the Taigen is a better option because it already has a lot of these corrections already found and pre-made, and these corrections would have to be done to the other vehicles. So it does save some time and also a little bit of money. Also, in case anyone is interested, I've built renditions of the other vehicles that I just mentioned, both a Tamiya, a Hemlong, as well as a Matto model. All these builds are found on the ECA channel, and you can review the videos on those as well in order to help make up your mind on which vehicle is really best for your needs. Moving on to recommendations, this kit here I definitely recommend for anyone who is an avid fan of World War II German armor. And of course, with the subject matter, anyone who is a bona fide Tiger fan. This model here will definitely fit into anyone's collection, specifically if you have the Tamiya Tiger I or even some of the other Taigen variants, and you want to round off the Tiger's family tree, as the late production Tiger is a nice end cap for that type of a collection. Just like what I was alluding to before with the availability and the more affordable cost of the Taigen kits, this allows you to really have a nice broad collection of Tiger Is where you can have different variants with different camouflage and markings. This combined with the availability of 1/16 scale pre-made decals on the market, you can really fill out and have a very nice Tiger I collection with this. Now, outside of the historical collector and builder, another type of person who would appreciate this type of a kit would be someone who's looking to get into the ready-to-run RC tank market, who doesn't have a whole lot of experience with working on plastic model kits or radio-controlled models for that matter. Someone who just wants a simple beater model where they could run it until the wheels fall off, this kit here is definitely something that would be strongly recommended for that type of a person. Specifically, the late production Tiger and also the mid-production Tiger over the earlier units, in the simple fact that with the early units you have those FIFO canisters on the back. With those type of vehicles, getting access to the inside portion of the vehicle has always been a problematic venture. With the late production unit, it's simpler because this system is not in the back and it's less clutter to deal with, specifically if you're going to leave it stock and get access to the battery. For that type of a person, the late production Tiger is definitely one I would recommend all day long. And with that, that wraps up this model showcase video for this 1/16 scale, radio-controlled, late production German Tiger I. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel, where you can get updates on new model showcase video and project update videos when they get posted. Another way to keep in the loop of new posted content is by liking us on Facebook. There I have more pictures of this particular build, as well as the other smaller and larger scale builds that have been posted on the channel in the past. Furthermore, don't forget to swing by eastcoastarmory.com, where there are more 1/6 and 1/16 scale builds and detail components. Thanks for watching.